Welcome everyone back to another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son George. I was my mother's caregiver after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Sadly, she passed on 1/1/2020, but we started TogetherForSharon.com in her memory and to advocate today for a cure for all those still battling Parkinson and their families because no one is ever alone in this fight. Today's guest is someone who I always say is special, but this one is even more deep, if that'll be the word. And just before, because she's been through a journey, but I kind of feel in a little way I've been with her, on that journey and thinking about her and cheering her along the whole way. But before Julie joins us, I started now saying little quotes every show and thought this one was beautiful for our talk, but I could be wrong. So let me know if but there are no mistakes in life, only lessons. And I feel that I learned a lesson for the positive from you, and you truly inspire me. So I just want to welcome Julie to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on your show, and I look forward to our conversation.
No, I really appreciate it. And I know we'll tell everyone listening, all those amazing individuals out there throughout the Parkinson's community and the world, because we need to reach everyone about your journey. Because we met a while ago, but I was thinking about you and concerned when you also went through DBS surgery. So many of the people now I consider family, I hope they consider me back, but have gone through something like that. And kind of 99% have said such incredible things. 1% has not. So it's interesting. My mother didn't want to do DBS. She had more internal tremors rather than external. External did come towards the end, unfortunately, but maybe, we can start off at the beginning and, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I was diagnosed 6.5 years ago. Well, it's actually almost 7 years ago with young onset Parkinson's when I was 44. I actually don't have a tremor dominant PD. My main symptoms were initially were rigidity and slowness of movement, and then eventually I got pretty bad focal dystonia in my left foot. For those of you who know me and follow me on social media, I called it my elf foot. So a lot of times in Parkinson's, people's toes curl inward, mine curled outward. So I thought it looked like an elf shoe, like Santa's elves.
Mhm.
So I called it my elf foot. So it got to the point where it was Botox resistant, and I had to take so much medication that the side effects of the carbidopa levodopa was actually uh, worse than my actual Parkinson symptoms. Um, so flash forward to March 2024, I opted to have DBS surgery because my dyskinesia got so bad that I ended up in an ER, and that's a whole nother story. They thought I was a drug addict and
Yeah.
um, treated me not so good. Uh, and it just became that it was a quality of life. So I opted to go through the evaluation process for DBS. And so now I'm about 8 months out and I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, like I said earlier, you look great and honor to have you here. And I know everyone listening, or if you're not aware of Parkinson's, just because somebody is smiling and feels great on the outside still doesn't mean you really know how they're on the inside. That's why when you said a few things just now, how they didn't treat you correctly at the hospital, frightens me. I'm doing a book, as you might know, about the law enforcement world and how they're just not aware. So we need to get all our nurses, hospitals aware. My mother went through tragic things at the hospital, and we kind of tried to avoid the hospital where it's supposed to be a place to comfort you, make you safe. And as you just mentioned, I can imagine what you had to go through. And as always, I send my love and our support because you're not alone. And you probably know that because even when you were going through that, I was texting you and on the Instagram, all these there's so many of them, but I didn't want you to think that we're not thinking of you. So I'm so glad to see you smile even
Thank
through these
you. I
tougher
appreciate
times.
it.
And and today again, I'll say it 100 times. I'm so excited to have you because I've known you for some time, and life gets in the way. Everyone's busy, and then I have 5 surgeries. You have one, the DBS.
Yeah.
It's amazing, but we still come back together for awareness. So some of the other areas are really important. You're also an incredible advocate, and you mentioned social media. Maybe we could talk a little bit about, your mindset today versus before surgery, and then how important is social media? I think it's very important. Unfortunately, there's some negative, but the positive is it brings people like us together. And you've all changed my life forever, and that's why I fight. We're coming to the holidays, which will be tough because my mother no longer has a seat at our table due to Parkinson, but it has brought inspiration and a lot of positive light, like having individuals like you in my life. So I'm always going to forever grateful for that.
Oh, I'm grateful too that you're in my life. Um, well, let's talk about social media. I mean, social media, some people, for me, while I was going through all my issues, with dyskinesia and, before my surgery, I only really had an hour and a half of on time during the day. So social media for me became almost my social activity, my interaction with other people. And I don't think if I had it um, that I would have found such um, a warm community, inviting community. The PD community is so amazing, in terms of support and just sharing experiences. Um, I shared, can't remember if it was on my YouTube channel or on TikTok or or Instagram, but I explained the situation that happened in the hospital. It was a dyskinetic storm, and a couple people actually reached out to me and said that they had the same thing, but they had never heard of it before. And thank God that I mentioned it because they thought it was made up in their head, or that they thought that they were the only ones that experienced. So social media, the good of it is that it helps us share things that happen to us that you don't might not think they are happening to other people, so you don't feel so alone. And I guess, the negative side of social media, and it's just more from like a physical point. It's like I feel like we're always hunched over on our phones, and we'll, our
And our
phone should
kids
be
too.
up, and I feel just like posture wise that it's kind of negative. Um,
And
so
I think all our children are addicted to my kids. Three of them are in another room now on social media. It's the only way I get them quiet for our show. So it's positive and negative at the same time. Actually,
yeah,
one,
I think it's positive for the sharing and oh, okay, your screen share is not.
yeah, as you
I
talk
was like,
more
oh, my
about,
screen is blank.
we had that timing perfectly as you were
Oh
going to
yeah.
talk.
Oh yeah, perfect. Oh yeah, look at me. Look at my. So yeah, you can see my toes. That's pinned, and that was me after my surgery. And I don't just post about Parkinson's. I post about things that make me laugh and things that I do in my life. So uh, yeah, I've got a pretty good feed.
No,
I watched Tyson Paul fight.
that
Yeah.
was that was a long story, but I saw a funny thing someone mentioned. It was 4 hours of a conversation that could have been sent in one email.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
So
like that.
true.
Yeah, I
Uh,
do appreciate all you do. I do want everyone, please go to Julie XYOPD, subscribe, like, follow, and like I do, really enjoy the tougher times, but more importantly, the positive. But seeing you smiling today and also here means a lot, and how you're a warrior, and many look up to you, and you don't know it. I do want everyone flooding Julie's Instagram email box with positive only stuff and liking
God, my
everything we
toenails look
can.
so awful in that picture.
Odd
After
of it's,
I was like,
it's kind
ooh.
of, it's odd, but seeing it is important for awareness, but it
Yeah.
brings back memories of my mother. If you take me, I didn't even know Parkinson's was a disease for 7 years because my mother kind of didn't talk about it until the last 4 years when I had to take over her life. But I do remember her on the bed, and if you're not aware, it looks like a horror movie or something. You don't know why is her toes curling, why is she not doing well, and things like that. And I wish I had known you then, and everybody out there, because I don't think I would have been as panicked. But these are some of the amazing posts from Julie. I'm gonna like a few. I like doing that while we're, but yeah, and please support her. It really brings smiles and through the good, the bad, and some of the tougher times. And we have to support you too. Maybe you can also talk about some of your other things. I discovered last night, which I loved, your YouTube. I subscribed. Everybody, all you do is go to youtube.com/at Julie XYOPD and you just click subscribe. So there's no excuses, everyone. And it's free.
Yeah, I launched the YouTube channel mostly to talk about DBS. What I find is for DBS, the information out there is mostly what the device companies put out, which is great. But they don't really talk about and I haven't made some of the videos, but I'm going to put like what to expect when you're going in for DBS surgery, what's recovery like. Um, uh, I mean, it's like dumb things, not dumb things, but everyone that's reached out to me that asks, what should how do I prepare for recovery? And I'm like, you need to get a shower cap because you can't get your stitches wet. So, your doctors don't really tell you that. And there's always so much going on. You're not going to find a comfortable position to sleep in. So get one of those prop up pillows. Um, you know, I'm just watching myself.
I, like,
I'm
I always
talking.
love when everyone, all the guests, I always do that on purpose to see what you. I always say you may recognize this young lady.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Um, and what I've learned about DBS too is, like there's different placements in your brain depending on your what your symptoms are. There's pros and cons to each. There's no set way. Every surgeon does it a little bit different in terms of incisions and scars. There's You can do it asleep, you can do it awake, you can kind of do a combination of both. But what you have to do, what I recommend is to do your own investigation, do your own research, and decide what's best for you. Um,
And I do want to point out Julie's also on TikTok, same screen name, which I love because sometimes I've been noting that people have 12 different screen names. I do. I couldn't find some of them, but it's really easy to find you because it's the same screen name. So please go to TikTok, also Instagram. I also did a lot of research and found some beautiful support from other organizations and other foundations that you work a lot with. Can you talk a little bit about some of the ones? I also want to share the one here with Davis Finney.
Yeah, so I'm a ambassador for Davis Finney Foundation. What does an ambassador do? We mostly just we're out there for the community. I get a lot of people that reach out to me because they're young and they're still working, and they want just want to connect with somebody that is in the same situation that I am, especially with working and trying to manage being a YOPD person and managing a full-time schedule and how I handle, informing my employer. I'm very open about it. Uh, I was always, open about my Parkinson's when it got to a point where it was too hard to hide it versus just coming out and talking about it. Because for me at work, sometimes I was having speech issues. Couldn't, a lot of people that have Parkinson's, they can't get the words out or they stutter. Um, and some of the medication gives you really dry mouth. So there was a point where at work, people thought I was drunk because I couldn't, because of the way I was acting. And it was just because I couldn't get my words out. And sometimes when I get the words out, I was slurring a little bit. So I made a conscious choice to be open about my Parkinson's. For, and then it also got to a point where I had to ask for accommodations. And it's something as simple as the shoes that I was wearing. When you're in a corporate environment, you're expected to wear, heels or, certain shoes,
Mhm.
not as casual. And I couldn't wear heels anymore. And certain flat shoes would just crunch my toes. My toes were already curling. So, trying to wear corporate type shoes. So I had to ask for accommodation to wear tennis shoes and in business attire situations. So that kind of opened the door for me to talk more about my Parkinson's at work. And so, and for everyone, that journey is a little bit different. Um, So, yeah, you have my LinkedIn profile, so I'm very open about my Parkinson's, because when you're young and onset, you worry about losing your job, you worry about disability, but a lot of employers, they're there to work with you, their HR teams will work with you, um, to help come up with solutions to help um, work a little bit more easier for you.
I'm glad they did treat you well. I'm actually doing a lot of research on that issue about the law. I'm an attorney and a police officer, but a lot of people I've been talking to are either being discriminated against because the employer doesn't understand what Parkinson's even is. So we need to bring more awareness, and there are laws out there that I hope to share with the world completely free because I don't, no offense to my legal colleagues, but I don't want you to have to, anyone to have to pay 300 an hour just to find out these minor little things that are they're not minor, they're significant. So it's nice to hear a positive story. Are you still with them today? Obviously, we're not going to name names, but are you still able to work? How has it affected you? Have they been supportive after the surgery?
Yeah, so I still work for the same company, and I took a short-term disability. I took advantage of the company's short-term disability for my surgery. Um, so I didn't have to worry about my income. And it's so funny that the surgeries worked so well that now they're leaning on me more to do more work. And so now, I'm kind of in the position where, I feel so good. I want to live my life and not necessarily be a slave to the, 9 to 5 and work. And I've had to create boundaries. It's like, I'm not going to work on weekends. If you need me extra time, I'll be happy to work extra time, but just because I have a cell phone, I'm not available 24/7. So I've learned to value um, my time with my family and my friends. And when I'm working, I'm dedicated to my job. And when I'm off, I'm letting my mind rest and my body rest. Because I still have Parkinson's, but after having surgery, they see that I'm doing really, really good. And I appreciate that they almost don't see me as somebody with a disability anymore. But I still have one. So yeah, it's just being more conscious about priorities and what matters most, to you, and what matters most to me, and I value is my time off, my vacation time, and time with my family and my friends, and they're
Uh,
supportive of that too.
That's so important. My wife would love you because I don't know how to do that. Like we work 7 days a week, which is not normal. So eventually it's not going to be able to keep happening, but I need you in my life and my wife to get me off the computer. But so back to you.
Well, to support you in what you just said,
Mhm.
I have to remind my husband too.
Right.
It's like, at certain time I'm like, okay, it's time to turn off the cell phone, and let's sit on the back deck and have a conversation and just be in the moment. I guess that's what taught me
Yeah.
most about Parkinson's and the surgery, and having been able to get my at least part of my life back is being in the moment, and trying not to worry about an email,
Mhm.
replying to an email at 10 o'clock at night that can just wait there until the morning. So it's just being mindful.
Well, that's why I think you're a role model and a hero to so many, even though you might not admit it or know it. But there's someone out there, I hope that I'm not diagnosed, but if you are, that you're listening, here's someone who can still smile, even though she's battling the disease. There are some brighter sides, and you can take my life as I wouldn't be able to do the show or what I do today if it wasn't for amazing individuals like yourself who inspire me to keep going, even though you want me to put my phone down. I have to keep at
Uh,
that's another problem. I can't, like, it's like all day and night. Some nights I don't sleep thinking about you and everyone and just don't want you to have to even go through this. So I wanted to shift a little to some fun topics. Not that those weren't fun, but
okay.
we did mention something about 80s rock bands. So maybe and then I want to get a little bit more about you, and then there's so much to get to. So we'll try and, somewhat, we won't get to everything, but maybe you could start us off on that.
80s rock band. I don't know, like White Snake.
Nice.
Here I go again on my own. Is that Whitesnake? I don't even know.
I love all music, so I welcome that and everything else. We're gonna outdate ourselves if we talk too much about that.
Right, 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 right.
Every time Back to the Future comes on, the other day was like a marathon. All that music is the best music, but it's like when you see all that stuff's coming true today, like the flying, it's like scary now. I think they need a new one, and then to show what'll happen in the future. But the only thing we're waiting for is the flying cars, which is frightening too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Every time I think of Back to the Future, I think of Huey Lewis in the News,
Yeah, I love it.
the soundtrack.
It's amazing.
And I think Michael J. Fox, obviously, but
Course. Yeah, another amazing advocate. We're trying to get him on the show, which I don't know. I was this close from asking him, but I felt he wasn't doing well that day, and I didn't want to bother him. But hopefully, I'll get another chance. Can we start this off by? Can you list 3 words to describe who you are?
loyal. Um, I think I'm funny.
I agree.
uh, and appreciative.
I love that one. Uh, Next thing, and I'm appreciative for you coming on today. Do you have one moment, a most memorable moment that stands out through most of your work with advocacy that you can share?
Um, it's I guess it's not like one moment, but it's in the I have a weekly support group, but I also do a lot of peer-to-peer um talking with people. People reach out to me, they find me on social media, and a lot of people aren't comfortable in a group environment, like getting on a group of, like a support group. Um, but I guess the most important moments are when they thank me, and like I don't want to be thanked, but um, it makes me feel so good inside when they say, um, thank you for taking the time to talk to me, and or they consider a lot of these people. I consider them my friends, just like you, and
Okay.
but it just I guess it's the moment when somebody tells you, I'm so glad that we're friends, and a lot of the times we've never met in person, and for me that's very fulfilling.
Well, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today.
You're
I'm
welcome.
trying to memorize all that. We're not done though. I'm glad everybody, I'm sure, doesn't want you to go yet. But uh, next area is what current things are you working on? Do you have anything planned? Any exciting news we can break? News breaking right here. I had a few people
News
say,
not breaking. I mean, I'm working on my YouTube channel. I
I
just
love it.
launched that, and my goal is more to educate about DBS, life after DBS, and to let people know that it is an option, but it's not a cure.
All right.
And I got to share with you, for 2025, I've made a goal, personal goal, that half my vacation time is going to be dedicated to Parkinson's advocacy. And
Right.
what does that look? I'm not sure what that looks like. Like I
Mhm.
have a North America tour of people I want to meet in person.
Right.
Um, so I like to do that, and I like to actually be more involved with advocacy in Washington. So that's, those are kind of my goals for 2025. So I'm kind of mapping that out. Uh,
Nice.
I feel like DBS has given me a second life, and I should. I'd like to give back more to the community.
Well, if you're in South Florida, you know where to find me. I've actually had, oddly enough, we've had like 15 people now actually come visit here. And we met, and actually had the president of Hawaii Parkinson's Association. That was a beautiful moment. And it was only
Mm.
for, brief, but it was still nice to, and then I'm looking forward to, if everyone's all healthy, the World Parkinson Congress. That'll be beautiful. But I have a feeling they're probably going to get mad, but I will probably be outside. I won't be in any of the lectures. I'll be talking to all of you. So that's the only reason I'm really excited to meet everybody. But next area was this is it's not always fun, giggles, and excitement. There are times that are tough, obviously, if you're going through this battle, and for caregivers. I was wondering who helps you during times of struggle. We always like to kind of not originally like bring them out, but I just wanted to send love and thanks and support to the people too who support you, because they mean the world too.
So yeah, like my husband, huge support, pillar in my life. I'm getting emotional.
Mhm.
My daughter, um, she's absolutely amazing. Um, and of course, I have a kind of like my tribe.
Mhm.
That what I tell people is, in the PD community, find your tribe, the ones are that you feel most comfortable with talking to, and just kind of create a circle for yourself. Um, and actually, my doctor, I've developed a really good relationship with my MDS. Uh, I feel like a lot of the medical community sometimes doesn't get. I feel like we always some. I feel like there's just in general we like to complain about our doctors sometimes because they're overwhelmed. Um, but uh, our relationship wasn't that great initially because I had to switch MDS as I moved from Colorado to New Hampshire 2.5 years ago. So I had to start my relationship with my doctor all over again. But I don't look at it I guess just saying the word relationship,
Mhm.
it's a relationship, and both parties got to work at it. And so yeah, so I'd say my husband is my biggest pillar, my daughter and my extended family, but I'd say my husband and my daughter are the two big ones that have just helped me through, and they've seen me at my worst, and they've propped me up, and um, so yeah, I love them.
Well, we send our love to your husband and your daughter and the whole crew, tribe, sorry, tribe, and
Tribe.
we thank them too.
I don't want to name names. I mean,
Huh?
my tribe knows who my tribe
Mhm.
is, and
Nice.
yeah, so we cry and we laugh together. So.
Thank you. What drives and motivates you to keep, fighting and now getting into even more advocacy, even though you're already advocating?
Well, it was something that I don't know if it was part of the recording or it was before the recording, but for you and for me, if you can just help one person, that's what drives me. It's like I don't do what I do for likes or clicks. I just do it because I know I needed it when I was diagnosed, and even 6.5 years ago, I don't feel like there was as much community in maybe that was the benefit of COVID. We're all sitting at home on our phones, but I wish that there was. I wish there was what currently is out there on social media for the YOPD community back 6.5 years ago. Because so I don't even remember the question.
You got you had a great answer, but I agree with a lot of that, and it's interesting to see how research and we all change over time. I imagine in 10 years from now, what will be, I'm praying there'll be a cure, so that'll be end of all of our jobs for that, at least. Who
Yeah.
is your hero and inspiration?
Of course, Michael J. Fox, people like you, people like Esther, Mark in the Park. I mean, all the
Well,
people that just do it like without reason. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to say it any other way, but um, and for all the caregivers, care partners, like my husband hates being called my care partner. He's like, I'm your husband. I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, but yeah, I'd say my husband.
That's
He's
another interesting area, care partner, caregiver. It makes me dizzy, but I like caregiving because I care about my mother and I gave everything. So some people like care partner. It's like, I don't know. It just, as long as you're caring for someone, that's all that matters. And yeah, I mean, there's so many amazing topics and things that this has to be continued. Just to wrap up a little, this is my favorite question. Hopefully it's yours. If you were asked to write a script to a movie about your life story, what would you call it and who would play you as the role in the movie?
oh my gosh. I didn't know
Everyone
this question was coming.
everyone listening while Julie's thinking of the answer, feel free to send any questions you might have for me to ask the guests. I love that one.
I'd say weird science.
That's good. That was a
Who
good
would
movie.
play me? Uh, well, wait, my hair looks now Jamie Lee Curtis.
Nice. As long as no Michael Myers are running around.
No.
Love it.
Uh,
Thanks. And then the final question, although it's not final, just for today, I always say we have to continue this conversation, everyone. It cannot stop until the world is aware of Parkinson's and really jumps on board with us all hand in hand. And I do want to thank you, Julie, and all the Parkinson's community for kind of taking me in because, as you know, I don't have Parkinson's. I'm no longer a caregiver of someone alive with Parkinson's, but I do feel we have, 30, 40 million people who might have lost someone in the Parkinson's community, and the door actually, sadly, for some closes. And obviously, respect everyone's wishes. You move on and things, but I feel that my mother still matters, and our voices all still should be heard. So, but if it wasn't for individuals like you and all the others you mentioned, I don't know if I would be as involved. And as of now, I can't stop. And it's not even that I don't want to, it's just part of my heart. I feel left the world when my mother passed, but the working with you and talking to you off here and all the fun talks we've had and some of the tougher keep me wanting to do more, even though I don't know if there's any more time. I need to add more time in the day. So there's so much more to do. But if you were asked to write, we did that last one too. Oh wait, did you? Oh, you said, yeah, she's good. She's she's a little busy, I think, right now. She's like with the Halloween just ending. But last question today is if you could leave the Parkinson's community with some words of encouragement, what would they be?
Uh, I'd say it's a lot, being diagnosed is not the end of the world. You can have a very fulfilling life, especially for YOPD. Um, be grateful. Um, try to find gratitude in some of the simplest things. Don't focus on what you can't do, but focus on what you can do. Um, yeah, I guess, and reach out to me if you just need somebody to talk to or
Well,
just to
that's
text with. I'd be happy to.
amazing advice. I mean, there's so many more topics as you talk. I think of even, young onset, but even female with Parkinson's. I've been covering a lot of that. It wasn't like a plan, but so many important issues. As you mentioned, if we could just reach one person, there might be a male or a female out there or somebody who feels alone or doesn't know any of us are out there. And now they discovered you and can reach out to you. So I really am grateful for the time today and going forward and the past. But please follow Julie, and it's so easy because it's Julie, XYOPD everywhere. That makes it easy. But on, LinkedIn, Instagram, and the big one, TikTok, which I should share, but so many to go to. I can't find it. So
Okay.
but anyway, I really appreciate your time. I do have a little message for you, Julie, and everyone listening. We love you. We support you. We care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with Julie, will advocate for you. And together, I feel our voices are so much stronger. And I always joke around and say I'm just getting started because even though I've been kind of doing it for 5 years, I just feel re-energized, when I see you and see your social media and we talk because there's just so much more to do and so much more to come. So I just want to thank you. I'm grateful for your friendship, all that you do, and I do recommend and hope everyone listening will not just share this for awareness, but reach out to Julie, support her. She's on an incredible journey of amazing things, and everyone's so unique and different, and it's just a beautiful thing. So, we're again so honored to finally meet. We were joking before the show that we, planned this a year ago, I think, and I'm actually not to scare anyone away, but we're booked till 2026, so the show will go on. As long as we have amazing individuals. I actually spoke to, I think somebody in one of the big foundation that might be coming on. We've had celebrities. To me, Julie's one of the celebrities. So I love you.
Aw, thank you.
And
I don't feel like
thank you
but
again. Yeah,
appreciate that.
but I
Thank you for
really,
everything you do, George. I mean, you're relentless and very much appreciated in the PD community.
I
Thank
appreciate it, and it's all for a good, loving reason. And sometimes I'm aggressive because I want the world to know about you all. And now I kind of don't do that because it's like everyone's coming to me, which is beautiful too. Instead of when you just start out, there's just so many more stories. And the only last thing is the only thing that breaks my heart is the journey that I'm not aware of because there are people out there right now on one side struggling and want help and then the other side doing some incredible things that I just don't know because you can't know everything. So if you know you're listening again, reach out to me, reach out to Julie. We're here for you. Uh,
Yeah.
I
And
know
even, yeah,
24/7, Julie might turn the phone off for 1 hour a day, but don't do that.
well, no, I was gonna say, even if we, we might not be able to help individually, but we can certainly connect you with somebody that can. Um, I connect people all the time that have more expertise in certain areas than I do, or different parts of the country, part of the world.
I've been getting a lot of emails about celebrities. Can I get them introduced? Michael J. I don't know anybody. I'm just a regular little guy down here, but I don't, just try and get interesting guests and people who I admire. But just a disclaimer, I do not know Mr. Fox. Yes, I've met him several times, but I can't give you his number or phone personally because I don't have it. Although I did meet a person once, which when I was starting out, it's a funny story. I never shared. There was this individual, I don't remember his name. He must be wealthy, an investor. He would put on his Instagram like every day is with another celebrity and all this stuff. Finally, he put a picture of Mr. Fox and they were hanging out. So I wrote him and I didn't think he'd respond, but he wrote back and said, "Give me a call." I didn't call him because at the time, you don't know on social media what's real or what's not. And I was new to it. I didn't even know what to say because I was just starting out. So I didn't do it. And then I kind of feel bad that I missed that opportunity because it would have been a interesting talk, but we can't reach everyone. But that was one interesting story. I wonder what would have happened. But if you're out there, Mr. So reach out anytime. But I did again wanted to thank you, Julie, for your time and everything you do. And please, everyone, again, follow Julie on Instagram, Julie XYOPD. Also, her beautiful YouTube that's now started that we've shared at PD Connections, and I'll add all these sites to the show notes so you can also just jump right in there. So thanks again, everyone. Thank you, Julie. Please stay tuned. This has been another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son, George, but it's not the last time we meet because there's so much more to do. And you know me, I won't stop fighting until there's a cure at all our doorsteps around the world. So thank you all. We send our love and thank you.